You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
Together we are
Road Break.
How's every single one of you? Welcome to the NXT review, the show that now we do on Tuesdays. And, at least we have new tag team champions. Finally, the way has found its way. So actually, I think the show was decent for the most part. A lot of times, we saw stupid, sketches that they were not too good, but we got to see Cameron Grimes one more time. Karrion Kross it seemed like he has many feuds coming up. So we'll see what happens. What did you think, Paul?
I mean, yeah, overall, to me, it was an all-right episode of NXT. Just, more of the same, really, from what they showed. They didn't give me anything on this episode that really wowed me. And, oh, man, NXT's really improving. But they also didn't take a step backwards. To me, it was just kind of, same old. Like you said, we saw some goofiness. We saw some good stuff. And to me, that kind of sums up NXT.
Yeah, exactly. So, thank you so very much for being with us. Don't forget to watch the videos, subscribe, comment. Let us know, how you guys feel about these shows. So, Monday Night Raw, Paul, a really crappy show. A lot of people are shitting on the fact that, Eva Marie is back. Is she really back? Yes, she is. For every single one that doesn't believe in that, she is back. And also, Drew is eyeing on Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. They're going to have a match next week. What do you think overall? Summarize it for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, awful build towards, Backlash, where SmackDown is actually, putting on, I would say, overall, pretty good show. You go to Monday Night Raw, and, especially on this last episode, there was really no good segment, I think, really, on this show. There was nothing that, this feud's going to be good, or, it's nothing is good. So it's just Raw is, really awful wrestling, as people like to say.
Exactly.
Raw,
it's really bad. It's really bad. So let's start with this one, Paul. Falls Count Anywhere, Isaiah Swerve Scott and Leon Ruff. Finally, these guys have the blow-off match, and like you always said, when this is over, it's freaking over. We're not going to see it again. We don't want to see it again. I hope that neither one of the writers want to see this again. But at least, the right winner, and also the match was not too bad. Scott Carson finally gets the praise that he deserves. So what did you think?
Yeah, I actually enjoyed this for what it was. I really like, Scott. I was Isaiah Swerve Scott. He's good. And Leon Ruff, he would be. I don't hate him, but I just hate when they put him in matches against guys that clearly he shouldn't stand any chance. If he was in the ring with somebody smaller, it would definitely be more believable. But this wasn't bad, and then the street fight or Falls Count Anywhere setting, so they could use anything. They're throwing the toolboxes at each other. Excuse me. And then during commercial break, they were beating each other up in the back in the locker area and stuff. And I mean, there was a lot of good spots in here, a lot of dangerous spots too, like the Hurricane Rana off the apron, the reverse Hurricane Rana. Leon Ruff put on Scott, onto the floor and stuff. So, these guys were really, this was definitely had blow off match vibes. Except in what we saw at the end, to skip forward, they're over the barricade. Leon Ruff hit 2 cutters on him, and they're over the barricade, and he jumps, which this spot was dumb to me because clearly before he jumped, he saw this big guy standing there. It wasn't Isaiah Swerve Scott, clearly. He jumps, this guy catches him, almost does a burning hammer or, Death Valley driver onto, or attitude adjustment, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, exactly. F-U. Do we have another name? No? Okay, good. He hits him onto the barricade, which allows Swerve Scott to hit his finish in the ring. And we see, Swerve Scott kind of has his entourage. Now, This was the blow-off match, but with this interference and this bullshit, is it really the blow-off match? That's the only thing I'm like, please let this be over, because you could easily see Leon Ruff going, I'm going to get my own group, blah, blah, blah. We're going to have a big match, No, we don't want to see it. I would have rather just seen Scott win clean, and that would have been the end of it. But we see Swerve Scott with his own little group, his own little entourage, so maybe that'll help build him up.
Yes, exactly.
And we'll see where he goes.
This guy is AJ Francis, so that's the guy that, was helping out Isaiah Swerve Scott. So, like you said, he gets that. Hopefully, like I said, this feud needs to end. This guy needs to go on to better things. Mm-hmm. Maybe Bronson Reed, something like North American champion. He's ready to be mid-card, wrestler. I think that he will be really good at it, a really good heel, and he can use the help of this guy. Very similar to what Apollo does with Baba Ganoush and Aces. So very similar to that.
Oh yeah, and don't you love how Vic Joseph was like, oh, that's whoever. What did you say his name was? Frazier?
AJ Francis.
Francis, yeah. He's like, oh, AJ Francis or whatever. It's like, who? Mm-hmm. He yells. It's like Excalibur on AEW. He yells this name like we're supposed to pop and know who that is. Yeah, I really like when commentary was like, who the hell is this? Who's this guy? And then Swerve Scott will tell us who he is next week.
Yes, exactly. So it's a lot better that you build a little bit of intrigue in those things. Exactly. For example, who's this guy? This guy's Asher Hill. He's in the ring, and he's going to have a match against Cameron Grimes. And at least, this guy's still goofy. It kind of sucks that, he has a lot of talent, but they always love his goofiness. We can clearly see that. This guy is just like a comedy act for them. So it was like, and also, this guy actually took a long longer than what I expected to put him away. But in the end, came in done. Cameron Grimes, at least he gets a win, but with a jobber. Can he get a win after somebody that is actually believable? Or, like a guy that we see on TV regularly?
Yeah, no, maybe they're going to be, they have plans for this, Asher guy, whatever his name was. But like you said, right now he's a jobber. He's new, we didn't really see an entrance for him. He was just in the ring. He looks like Darby Allin, with 20 pounds, wearing trunks instead of, black pants. But it's like, what is this guy? Like you said, it should have been ring the bell. He should have charged Cameron Grimes, boom, cave in and done. Yep.
No, it doesn't happen that way. So that's what it was, pretty quick. But then he goes and he was celebrating with Eva Rice or the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
The bootleg of the Young Bucks. So I went to the moon and to the VIP lounge. So you see he's celebrating good stuff for Grimes, but again, comedy act. Do we care?
I did like how he's like, there's only room for 3, and they're like, well, there's 3 of us. He's like, no, it's me, myself, and Cameron Grimes. And then they're just like, well, for a money guy, he's not very good at counting.
Oh yeah, exactly. How did he get that rich? We don't know. Let's talk about this was so good. I enjoyed this because at least Austin Theory has that comedic side of him, and he gets with Johnny Gargano in the office of William Regal, and he's like, and they did the Triple H this before. He did this segment a lot, a few years ago. He did it with one of the reporters, exactly alike, but he goes kind of in that case the girl had a necklace, and he goes, are those real? The same exact beverage, the same exact lines. So he goes like that. And then we're all thinking about the boobs, but no, it's the nails. So that was cool. Did you like this?
Oh, yeah. That was funny. And, it actually did. It was good with what we saw later with what William Regal told Austin Theory, his plans for next week. But, this was funny because then he grabs her and he's like, oh, are those nails real? And then they're like, oh, get out of here. Yes, they're real. And Gargano's like, come on, let's get out of here. Don't be bullshit.
Exactly.
But, it was that kind of comedy is appreciated because it's adult oriented, which is how these shows should be. But
yes, exactly. That's what they said. And like you said, later on in the show, William Regal said that because of all of that, the match with Bronson Reed for Gargano is going to still go for the North American Championship, and Austin Theory is going to go against Karrion Kross. So that's going to be pretty cool, and it's going to be probably good.
And I like how he tells me, he's like, yeah, Austin, your new friend Scarlett wants you to have a match with Karrion Kross next week. So you versus Karrion. And he's like, so.
Oh, and let's see the face. So I'm going to lose. Exactly. So that was cool. I'm not going to say anything bad about it, like you said.
I hope Karrion makes a fist, and he's like, hey, are these real? And he starts punching him.
That's how they should say it. Yeah, let's go to something that it wasn't that good. I mean, the match was okay. The Grills Young Veterans. We love these guys. We feel that they should be tag champs because they're original tag champs. They're never there. MSK, we haven't seen them, and when we see them, they lose. So, completely wasted opportunity, but they go against the team of Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. Pretty good match, but in the end, bullshit win, and also, tainted for me because they kind of, they did the shoe. Also, I don't like that at all. I don't care why you have to job, the Girls Young Veterans. I don't get it.
Yeah, and, you have Drake who, he's, to me, is the star of the group, even though Gibson's a talker. But, Drake, they just beat this guy up like he's a jobber, and, he's so talented. Either one of those two in the Grizzly Young Veterans, I feel, could have a singles run if you really push them legit, but they don't even push them as a tag team, so I don't see that happening. And, they're cutting a great promo, making fun of the fans. Don't take off your shoes because y'all have stinky webbed feet. They're just really good at getting heat. And then you have these two guys come out, which, and they interrupt them, go to the ring, they have a match, and they look, really dominant. And see, that's the heel should have won here, got a little bit of heat, did something like that. Maybe they bring in the shoe and the heels use it, but it's because, it was actually
backwards.
It was Wade Barrett's shoe who they got because Drake got sent into the announce table.
Dive and they pushed Ciampa on
and then they took the shoe. They hit Gibson.
Where's
and then
my shoe?
Exactly, and then we see the arm bar here or whatever, and then he taps out, and I don't know unless you're going to put the titles on these guys, as in Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. Why give them wins? Why do all this stuff? Because we see later on Legado was like, no, we should be the champs. MSK is the champs. You have all these teams, but, are you actually going to do anything with them? Because the Grizzled Young Veterans, they shouldn't be the ones getting jobbed out. There should have been Ever Rise in a match, to elevate Ciampa. And
it should, or like Dre Maverick, Killian Dane.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, even Imperium. We're going to talk about Imperium in a little bit because they were having some Zoom classes with Walter. But before that, let's go let's go with Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter. They were talking about like, hey, they want to be tag champs also, all of that, and they have a thing with Frankie Monet. I'm upset. I don't know how you feel, but like, can she have a match already? Why can't she just like show up and just be like Elias with the guitar? She shows up with the dog and that's it. Can she have a match? Can we see her in the ring?
Yeah, I don't really understand what this was. You have the tag team here. They're saying, oh, Xia Li, blah, blah, blah. You're being bullshit. All this stuff, calling her out, saying they're not scared. They want to be tag champs. And then Frankie Monet's like, oh, you guys are so cute. All this stuff, kind of being very condescending with them. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm out left field here, but I feel like they signed her to have her because they don't want her to go anywhere else. But, they're eventually going to have plans for her. But right now, they don't. But if they didn't sign her, she might have went to AEW. She might have re-signed with Impact. She might have went, to AAA or somewhere in Mexico again, or even Japan. Who knows where she would have went. But they were probably like, no, we don't want to lose her, so we'll sign her. But we really don't have plans for her right now. That's what I get, because how do you bring in Saray, boom, she has plans. But you bring in Frankie Monet, and you signed other girl who went against Toni Storm last week, who we saw again tonight. Yeah, plans for her. She can get a match. Why can't, Frankie Monet? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you mentioned that right there. Saray against Saida Ramir. She beat Toni Storm last week, so there you go. They have a match, and this was pretty good. But once again, you got to showcase Saray. Like, she's like the future from Asuka, from Io Shirai, from Kairi Sane, all these Japanese women that like have been successful in the WWE. They want to do the same thing with her. Am I right? I think so. So, what did you think about this match? Pretty contested, good. And the end, Shirai, she tones a little bit, all of that. But, I mean, she did okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the match last week with Zoe Starks, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Yeah, that was a lot better. But this wasn't bad, Again, I don't like the whole let's clap the hands, let's be like indie bullshit, not Indie Hartwell, but like indie independent bullshit. Like no, I don't want to see that. I want to see legitness, because that's what we saw from Io, Asuka, and Kairi. We saw nothing but legitness. But then it was still good, because when she actually turns it on and is legit. She's legit, the stiff strikes, especially like in the suplexes and stuff. She doesn't just throw the people and they land on their backs. No, she drops them on their neck, on their head, really stiff looking suplexes and stuff. So I like this, and I like how that's her finisher, because it looks like it would actually kill somebody. Yeah. The way she hits it.
It's like a driver, right? It's like a pretty,
almost. But
this was driver. Yes,
this was good. And then I liked after the match, she's back there, like kind of have like the show respect, like, hey, it's legit, blah, blah, blah. And then you see Toni Storm coming in. I thought, oh, this was good. Tony's going to kick the shit out of him. But then, Zoe Starks just pops out of nowhere. Like, what was she waiting there for Toni Storm? So I don't like how WWE, how they set stuff up like this. Like how I said on Monday Night Raw when Charlotte was added to the triple threat and Rhea Ripley's music hits and she comes right out. Why would her music play?
No. Yeah, it's like it's so scripted. It looks
everything is so scripted. Like Yeah, like Toni Storm should have been beaten up on these two, maybe even with a steel chair or something, and then you have Zoe Starks, come down and make the save. But, we got this stare down, so I guess this feud isn't over. And then the promo work that, like, they're going to, the promo work, she says that, like, she was the one that put her in the business in the WWE. She's going to be the one that is going to take her out of the business. So that's what we got. And also, like she was mentioning, you don't deserve to be in my ring. You don't even deserve to breathe the same oxygen as I do. So pretty good from Toni Storm. You don't deserve to drink the same juice.
Exactly. As I do. Yeah, same juice. Yep. She doesn't have to do that. So cool promo by Toni. Zoom classes with Walter. What was this about? Where the fuck is he at? Is he in UK? Is he, where? That to me, Imperium, as of right now, all the legitness, all the respect, all the seriousness, all of the factors that made them special, completely gone. Gone. I don't like them anymore, because it's just like they've been treated really crappy. Yep. They're like a sinking ship. Yep.
That's Imperium to me is like, they had the match with Ciampa. That was his big, Walter hasn't really been, to people who don't watch NXT UK, that was his first real big exposure, one of them, to this new, NXT audience. Whether you have AEW fans who are now watching this show because it's on Tuesday or whatever, it's one of his first exposure to these fans. And you think, oh, okay, legit. Are you going to do something legit with him? Are you going to keep pushing him on this brand? No, you have these Zoom classes. And we said, like, Imperium, they keep looking like losers. You know, this whole Alexander Wolf, Killian Dane, Drake Maverick, all this stuff. Imperium is really going down. I'm not saying they're awful, they're jobbers or anything, but yeah, just completely lost.
Lost, exactly. So let's move on to Karrion Kross. The champion is going to speak up. And he was addressing like everybody. He said, hey, he's the champion. And, you know, he was addressing to everybody in the NXT locker room. He says, well, whoever wants to step it up, hey, let's do it. Let's give to the crowd what the crowd wants. So he was talking to a few people in particular. So he was also mentioning next week, you know, the Austin Theory thing. He's going to show the fist rather than, you know, the nails. Good stuff on that. But then, you know, we got to see Finn Balor coming back. We got to see Kyle O'Reilly looking like Freddy Krueger and Mick Foley. All of that. We had to see Pete Dunne. So what did you think about this thing?
I mean, this was okay. Again, I don't like Kyle O'Reilly coming out like Bruno Mars, Orange Cassidy. You know, I don't understand what this getup is. Wasn't he supposed to be the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter, you know, the tough guy? You know, I don't put up with no shit. You know, what happened to that? You know, we don't see that anymore. Now he looks like a beach bum from California. I don't get it. But he comes down here. He states his case saying, Karrion, you said you were looking for challengers. You know, it's me. I'm the clear guy. You know, pretty much is stating his case. Pete Dunne comes down, says that they're jokes. He's the toughest guy in NXT. And then we were supposed to hear from the Prince, as in he was supposed to cut his own promo, saying what he's doing, what his next plans are. Not come down and interrupt somebody else's promo, you know. So, again, a big flop for the return of the Prince, in my opinion. But then, you know, they just all start fighting each other, big brawl. I assume William Regal is going to say it's either going to be a fatal four-way, which I think is bullshit. It should be a triple threat elimination to determine the number one contender, and then that's who goes against Karrion Kross.
Yes, exactly. I think I did like the one he said, oh, Pete Dunne, done. You know, Kyle O'Reilly, done. Not once, but twice. So, like, that was good. But like I said, and big brawl, and also you mix the Garganos in it. You know, you mix Austin Theory, and also Johnny, like they did like the double, like, super kick, all of that. And then they laid Karrion Kross there. Then they left because Karrion Kross was chasing after them, just because, like, they're going to like, hype in the match for next week. So, like you said, the champion is involved in, like, a lot of feuds right now. But like you said, I would much rather just see the triple threat between, you know, Finn Balor, you know, Pete Dunne, and also with Kyle O'Reilly, and then you get to see singles matches. That would be a much better thing. We'll see if they do a fatal four-way. I don't know. I don't think that is the right idea, but you don't know with WWE anymore, right?
No, you never know. And I mean, I don't like the Garganos and them coming down here, or the way, I guess, coming down here all do it. You know, this thing was already a clusterfuck. Then to add them to it is like.
Again, you keep mixing storylines. So just, you know, they have the match, they're fine. Just keep them away. You know, keep the way away. So let's talk about let's how was the thing that he says? Let me talk about the show.
Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you.
LA Knight, really good stuff. You know, he was against Jake Atlas. I mean, really quick match. LA Knight is hyping himself up. Finally, he got a win. Also, like 2 weeks in a row, he got wins over like Dexter Lumis and now Jake Atlas. I mean, Jake Atlas. Remember months ago when we used to do NXT? You know, sometimes in the mornings he's like, "Oh, I want a championship opportunity. I'm legit." All of that. What happened? Done.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they have way too many people and not enough, you know, roles for these people. And you gotta love LA Knight. I love he's like, Jake Atlas, I'm gonna kick your ass so far. They're gonna need an Atlas to find you. You know, pretty much. You know, he's a great promo. And you know, he of course, you know, he insults the fans. Pretty much, you know, calls them all bullshit. He's like, you're all like incel virgin losers. You know, all this stuff. I mean, it was really good. Yeah, and I mean, and then, you know, a pretty quick match. And like you said, Jake Atlas feels lost, but unfortunately, somebody has to lose, and if I'm picking who's going to lose out of these two, it's Jake Atlas, because LA Knight, he should already be in the main event. I'm not saying he should already be the champ or already have a title match, but he should be the one going against like a babyface Kyle O'Reilly or somebody like that. You should already have this guy built up to the main event. Yes.
It will give me more reasons to watch that show rather than this. I mean,
or even him versus Tommaso Ciampa. You know, have Ciampa is a singles wrestler. Have, you know, that be a singles feud.
That would be a really nice singles feud because, again, build up almost the same. Not Ciampa and Walter, you know, like huge against like a stick right there. So, like, yeah, I agree with you. That should be a really good way to put LA Knight over. And then he can be against, you know, Gargano, maybe like somebody else. Or like, you know, like maybe Karrion Kross or Kyle O'Reilly or any one of the baby faces. There's probably 2 in the brand. 2 baby faces and everybody else is just heel. So there you go. We're going to see the waves preparing themselves. Like you see Indy, you see Candice, and it's can you open the door? We get to see our boy Dexter Lumis right there, and Candice, you know, just pretty much close like the blinds.
Yeah, the blinds.
The blinds. So like it's like, oh no, don't worry, we got it. Like she needs to be focused. So I mean, a good, like they've still torn that storyline with Dexter Lumis. That's fine. A lot of people seem to love it. Okay, right? Let's move on. Nothing else to say. This was good. Legado del Fantasma. We get to see a nice promo, like from the three of them. Not only Santos Escobar talking, but also we got to see the other two talking, saying that they want an opportunity for the championship. And I like how they were saying, like, Legado is pasión, Legado is legacy, all of that. Legado is like intelligence, intensity, not Kurt Angle, but all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were like really saying that they want that opportunity with MSK. And at the same time, then Kushida showed up and he said, "Oh, Santos," and then they made a match for that. So what did you think? Good stuff. The 2 out of 3 falls next week.
Yeah, I'm excited for that match. 2 out of 3 falls because I'm a big fan of Kushida. I like that. How he called him out, and it was he pretty much waited till the promo was over, and he didn't walk out there and attack the guys or anything. So I'm looking forward to this match. But I also like the promo, by the tag team of this group. How they's like, yeah, we beat you, MSK, but we didn't just beat you. We beat you bad, and then everything like you said. Yeah, and everything that you just said, the passion, legacy, intensity, all this stuff. So I don't know if they're going to pull the trigger, but I mean, if you're going to, then I would love to see Santos with the title back again, unfortunately, for Kushida, because I just like that when you have that image that, because how much did we like the Undisputed Era? How much were we behind them when, their legacy of gold or whatever they called it, and they had all the belts? Their prophecy of gold, whatever. When they had that, that was so cool. Everybody liked that. Yeah, do the same for Legado, but I don't know if they're going to. But to me, MSK, like you said, at first we were excited, and to me that's like that was a big flop. That was like a balloon and let all the air out.
Oh yeah, before we knew it, like we were already uninterested in them. But it's like I don't know how interested this is, but see, Diamond Mine is still right there. They keep doing promos. It's not Tessa Blanchard. A lot of people saying that is not Diamond Dallas Page. No, it's not that. So, like, we'll see what they do. They have this promos, but, like, it's somebody else. It's not Tessa Blanchard. So, they always keep us interested, but at the same time, what happened with, like, Xia Li and Mayhem? And, interested for, 1 or 2 weeks, and that was it. Now we don't even see them in the show. They went through all that training, remember? Like, not even human enough. And now done.
That's just, that just shows from when this show was legit, like you said, 2016, 17, 18. I mean, hell, even when Keith Lee and all them was double champ, the show still felt good. Yes. But like ever since then, I don't know whether it's the WWE writers or whatever, like the main roster writers, but this show it's right like Monday Night Raw, where you have one storyline and then all of a sudden they just crumble it up and throw it away, and we're just supposed to forget about it.
Exactly. So this is okay. Teddy DiBiase, Cameron Grimes, he's like in the VIP lounge, I'm legit, old badass, and then he's gonna want to go in the VIP lounge, going to go to the club, and like, no, your name is not on the list, all of that, and then he's like, well, somebody else bought the whole thing, or like, there's no room for you, and it's Ted DiBiase. So they keep adding this to the fire. At some point, like you said, he probably is going to be the manager from Cameron Grimes, so then it will be finally something good for Cameron Grimes. These sketches are good, the segments are pretty good, but it needs to end into something that they actually start working together. They're a team, and then start to win in like gold. Maybe like you said, always like the North American Championship, or at least have, what do you think, maybe like an NXT Championship match for like with a babyface. That would be absolutely great. Then Ted DiBiase just managing, hey, he's helping out, all of that. And I'd rather see like the way that the progression goes. Bronson Reed beats Gargano, holds the belt for like month, 2 months, whatever. Then because to me, again, he's popular, I guess. I don't know, but give it to Cameron Grimes. I'd much rather see him be the champ with DiBiase as his manager. That would be really cool. But that's how I see it going, because I wouldn't want him to go against, like, let's say O'Reilly's champ, NXT champ, or Finn Balor against somebody like that. To me, that's a match where you can smell it in the air. He's going to lose. He's not going to win. So don't do that, because if you're going to give him somebody as legit as Ted DiBiase to be his manager, you at least have to push him. Yes.
You can't have him just be in like all these title matches and lose. So that's why I'd rather see the North American Championship route. But I do love the line where Ted DiBiase's like, I'm not buying a booth to sit at. He's like, I just buy the whole damn club. And then he laughs and goes in. So, that was good.
Because, you know that, Jean-Paul. Everybody has a price for the $1 million man. I cannot laugh like him, but, that was my effort right there.
I thought I was listening to Disturbed there for a second with that laugh.
They let the bodies hit the floor, Yeah, yes, all of that. So let's talk about this stare down between Mercedes Martinez and Raquel Gonzalez. They're going to have a match next week also. So a pretty loaded show. They keep loading these shows. They want to get that rating. They want to get that, like, fans that, like, they don't have anything going on Tuesday. So at least they're trying to do that by giving championship matches. Are they going to do it? Are they going to accomplish that? We don't know yet. But see, this was pretty decent. I don't want to say good because it never get intense. It never really reached out. Oh, I'm going to beat you. Oh, like the climax, it was never there. It was, I'm good. I'm better than you.
And I feel like I agree with you, but I feel like that was Raquel's fault. I felt like Mercedes delivered the legit line. She's saying, like, it's the only reason that you're champ is because of me, because I went through hell. I went through all the hardships before you, and I pretty much paved this path that you could walk down to become champ. So you should respect me. And she's like, oh, respect you, respect the champ. And, like, Raquel never turned it into that, that fifth gear and really got fired up the way that Mercedes did. And, I like this. This promo was good, probably one of the best things on the show. But like you said, it really never got to that intensity. But maybe that's good because maybe we're going to see the intensity in the ring. And, I did like this. I'm looking forward to this match. I wish it was set up that Mercedes Martinez would win it because I feel like she really deserves it just because of everything, that she's done in her whole career. This would be something to solidify her. Like, yeah, you were a world champion on a WWE show.
Oh yeah,
because but unfortunately, I think what Raquel said is true. She's like, no, you're just going to be the first title defense.
It is
in my long title reign.
We know that, but what we're like hinting with all of this family, Raquel Gonzalez, maybe not such a great babyface. Maybe a better heel, like she has to get a little bit better.
See, I still think she is the heel. I think Mercedes is the babyface here.
Man, there you go.
That's at least how I see it because Raquel seems like overconfident and cocky. She's like, screw you. I don't care how legit you were. I'm the champ. Not, but I mean, because a baby face would be almost like, well, thank you for doing all this, but, blah, blah, blah. Like, they would at least be nicer. And a baby face wouldn't use Dakota Kai to cheat all the time either. So.
Oh, yeah, exactly. We'll see what happens. It's going to be next week. So I don't think maybe that closes the show. We'll see what happens. I would much rather to see like the 2 out of 3 falls that we mentioned.
The way that, and they like to push like the women and stuff. I could easily see that being the main event. Yeah.
They never do that, right? They will never main event a show on NXT with like a women's championship match. They will never do that. Oh yeah, they did. Women's championship tag team right there, street fight. The way against Shotzi and Amber Moon. Jean Paul, don't ever bring your dog to the show because their dog is going to take a shit into the tank. So
to me that almost describes this main event.
Yeah, right there. Like, that's how it was. I mean, sloppy. Like they use the toys. That's fine. The one thing that you always say, when they go to the commercial break, it takes you out of it because it's like you hear stuff, but you got to keep watching. So you got to see, get into T-Mobile and you got to get 5G and all of that. And then I'm like, but I'm watching the match.
And also using all, the weapons and stuff, this street fight, like, throwing Indy, into the table don't even break because, these women aren't heavy enough and strong enough to be able to do these spots that break the table. And then later on in the match, when Shotzi jumped off like the support beam, the guardrail, whatever you want to call it, onto Indy through the announce table, and then within 2 minutes, Indy was up and back in the ring. So she, no sold that, but when it happens, to somebody else, they sell it, like they need to go to the hospital. So what makes sense in wrestling? Nothing really. But I mean, this wasn't bad, but it also wasn't good either, at least in my opinion. I'm sure some people loved it, but the one thing I want to say is, because at the end of this thing, I almost called her Dakota Kai, Candice LeRae, she hits, what is it, the Wicked Stepsister, whatever they call it.
Wicked Stepsister, and also with the brass knuckles, so
yeah. And, so she wins, they win this thing, which was a surprise for me because it seems like they're going to take the title off Gargano, and we finally got, the way, so I'm sure... Yeah, so I'm sure there'll be a photo shoot with, the 4 of them with their 3 belts, and then immediately Gargano's going to lose his title. So, so much for that. But these titles to me feel like the WWE women's titles.
Yes.
On Raw and SmackDown.
In the main roster, yeah.
Because they feel useless. Who are the first champions? Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez for 10 minutes. Then, it was Shotzi and Ember Moon. And to me, they're like any tag team. People forget that Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode are tag champs. I forgot these 2 are tag champs. I only remember it when I watch the show and go, oh, yeah, that's right. They have tag belts on this brand, and that's who the champs are. Because they don't feel special. They don't feel legit, and I don't know what it is, because these women are going out there, they're having matches, they're defending the titles, they're definitely doing everything that they should be doing to make them feel legit, but they just don't. I really can't say what it is. Either, you're not putting them against good opponents, or it's not good storylines, or what, I don't know, but these titles don't feel special, and I don't think they're going to feel too special on this team because, they're a heel, so who are we going to see? Maybe Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. I don't know. Hopefully these two hold on to the belts for a while, but I could easily see Dexter Loomis coming out, giving her some flowers. Indy gets distracted. Candace yells at her, gets rolled up, and then they lose it. So
and then they get it again. Yeah, you're right. Yep. So that's the one thing. And like you said, they put them with teams that they're not great yet, and also as the title reigns are not long, and that's the kind of problem that they have. And like you said, it's just everything is done on the fly. That's not good. And remember, when you have the tag team belts, you can go to any brand to defend. Now that they have their own belt, the brand has their own belts, they're not going to come back again. Shayna and Nia, they're not going to come again.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is the point? Are they going to unify it when they just first debuted it? No. So it doesn't make any sense. But I mean, they get the titles, like you said, finally. And also, see, this is the idea that I wanted to tell you also. They had this match so many times, at least 4 times in the past 3-4 months. Of course, at some point they're going to win.
Well, yeah, a broken clock is right twice a day. And that's why I guess maybe this didn't feel legit because half the matches the tag champs were having were against the same team.
Exactly. So that's what I mean.
And you want to know why that is? Because you have so many women on this roster, but you refuse to use how many of them? Like we said earlier, Frankie Monet. Why she should have been going around saying hey, who wants to be my tag partner? Because I'm the greatest woman ever. You should feel honored to be my tag partner. Maybe a bunch of people are like, oh, no, I don't want to be with you, whatever. And then she eventually gets, put her in the tag division for right now. Do something with it.
Do something with her. Yeah, like you said, we have Tony, Zoe Starks. I mean, they're feuding, right? But maybe, create tag teams right there. Maybe Sheree. I know she's a singles, but, do something. Get them, a tags at least so, they can defend this. These girls need to...
And where's Io Shirai? We saw her a little bit, something with Frankie. Was that a feud? Then we see nothing the next week.
When there's no continuation.
I'm a cat person, and then done. Done. No.
And then the dog shits on the tank, and the bar that Amber Moon gets up right there by her seat. Family, this is NXT review for every single one of you. Thank you so very much for being with us. Don't forget to please subscribe. Help us out. We're getting right there. 80 more right there to that first 1,000, because there's going to be so many coming. And also the bell for notifications, and give the video a like. YouTube keep screwing with us. We see 10 at the one time, then there's 2. Help us out so we can get those videos more and up. Like you said, to the moon. Where else can they find us, Paul?
And to make sure you follow us, Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course right here on YouTube, where you're going to click a thumbs up on all of our fantastic videos on the Original Rope Break.
Family, tomorrow we're going to see each other for AEW Blood and Guts. So family, thank you so very much. We'll see each other. We have one more thing that is left to say, and that is